Now,
I agree.
let me ask you this one, because I've always wondered this. I've coached baseball, I've coached softball, and I have a theory between why my softball players, it seemed like softball players have picked it up faster and the work ethic is a little harder than the baseball players. And I wondered if there was some sort of chip. So you're coming up. Is there a chip on your shoulder being a female athlete where you want to prove that, look, I'm not to be played with? You know, I'm a force, and I'm gonna show you that, you know, we're gonna play at a high level. Does that exist, or am I just
Yeah, I mean,
dreaming?
I'd say it exists in pretty much every female athlete. I mean, I grew up with one brother, but technically I had three. And I mean, playing football in the backyard, getting beat up by them. I mean, I was always on a hunt trying to prove that I could do it too. Yes,
there you go. There you go. I like that. I mean, it was. I always wondered that because it just seemed the practices. And I don't get me wrong. I don't want to talk bad about my fellas, but it is what it is. I mean, you know, it was just easier. You know, it just seemed easier, and my female players were just more attentive. It seemed like maybe just more mature at that age, even at the age of 10, 12. It's just, you know, they worked hard, you know, and it was just, I didn't have to do a lot of pushing, you know, it was just ready to rock and roll. So that is a credit to you guys for sure. Now, still on the comparison tip, what about the swing? Because I know you hit all the time, and you're not a defensive only catcher. You pack a punch for sure. Is there a difference between approach for softball versus baseball as far as the swing and how you guys, you know, execute?
I'm not sure much baseball approaches. I do know our hitting coach used to coach professional, I believe. Mm-hmm. So the stuff that he teaches us, and something that's like really stuck with me, is more like hunting one pitch. So, I mean, you're facing some of the dirtiest pitchers out there. So why not make yourself more successful and only hunt one thing that you know that you can get to? So
thank you. Now, that was what I was going to get to as far as approach, right? Because people think that hitting is about the swing. It's not about the swing. It's mental. It's about your approach and what you're going up there with a game plan. You know, do you have a game plan, and are you hunting a pitch? Because you have active takes where you might not have swung, but you were prepared to swing. You know, you're ready. What's that pitch that you're normally hunting?
High and in.
High and in. Okay.
And the pitcher's going to be throwing that. And we watch a lot of them. So, like, if I know someone else is coming in there and they're not going to throw me that, then I'm going to hunt what they're going to throw me, and I'm going to work on it all week before we play them. So I'll be prepared when I get that pitch.
There you go. That's a great point, because hitters need to understand you can hunt for what you want to hit, or you can hunt for what you're going to get, because it don't matter if you want a fastball every time. They're not throwing it, so you might as well figure out what you're going to get and start working on that, hunting that pitch. Now, so that seems to be pretty consistent, you know, between baseball and softball, as far as approach being the number one thing, and being prepared, you know, having a game plan when you go to the plate. So yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So let me ask you this: when it comes to speed, because the game is about being fast, everything moves quick, right? We run the 60-yard dash, which I still don't understand why baseball runs a 60, because you don't run 60 yards at all on the field. That should probably be football, and then baseball should be the 40, because at least it's quick. How do you guys gauge speed on your side? Like, you go to a showcase, they're going to have you do what to gauge how fast you are?
I don't even know the answer to that question, because I was never a speed one, so I'm not too sure. I know we work on it, but I don't know what it is.
You don't do that. Yeah, you just hit the ball far and let the little
I want to say it's like, I do want to say when we would go to camps, it would just be like home to first times. Like, there was no 60 yards.
Okay, gotcha.
I might have done a few of those in my time, but most camps or clinics or whatever it was just home to first.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, getting to the college recruiting part of the conversation. So you're in high school. You mentioned that Texas, the UT, was the first school that showed interest. Explain that. How did they show interest? Did they contact you? Did they just show up to a camp? I mean, what was that process like?
So I wasn't even at a camp. I was catching a pitcher at a camp, and it was a pitching camp, and I was just catching her, and I was doing, at the time, it was not seen in softball a lot, but it was, do you remember like the funneling, like framing?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still around in baseball, but I was taught funneling by one of my coaches, and I started using that. And they noticed me doing that, and they're like, they haven't seen that in softball, and they started recruiting me after that.
Wow. So let me rewind. Hold on. Wait a minute. You went to a pitching camp?
Yes.
And you only went there to catch pitchers?
Yes, sir.
And so they were not there for you, but while you were there, you just started working, and then that caught somebody's eye who started recruiting you.
Yes, sir.
That is, I don't know how many, and now let me ask you, how many times have you told that story?
Sure. Couple.
A couple times?
It's a different coaching staff now.
Yeah. Okay.
So I had to go through like the whole process of switching over.
And what I mean by, telling that is that what you just said is so important for young players. It's not just about catching on that. It's just about the mindset of a recruiter and what they're really looking for. It's not about when you're doing things successfully. I want to know how you really are. Like when you don't know that anybody's looking, I want to see how you get out of the car in the parking lot. When you're catching a bullpen and it has nothing to do with you, I'm watching the pitcher, but you're still working. I know that's really you, and a lot of kids don't understand that. They think you show up to the showcase and the scout with the polo shirt and the radar gun walks up to you. It's like, nah, they probably watched you from the car, just to see what's going on.
Yeah,
that is an awesome. That is so.
I was out there with dads on buckets.
Yeah, right. That's on buckets with scouts. Yes. That is awesome. I'm glad you said that because that's one of those things where it's tough to even ask that question because it's like it's just so out of left field. It's like I thought I was just there just to do one thing. Now let me ask you this: if you knew you were there to be evaluated, would you have been nervous? You think if you knew that you had eyes on you at that time?
Yeah, I would definitely been nervous.
Right. Yep. Now that was a blessing in disguise because now, I mean, hey, they got a chance to see the real you, and you were just in there having a good time working, doing what you do, and it resulted in the start of the recruiting process. Now, did you have other schools? I mean, you got a big time school on you. Did you have other schools that were reaching out after a while? Trying to get you recruited.
So at that time, it was more JUCOs and smaller schools. Mm-hmm. Because I wasn't playing on I was playing on a local team Corpus, so I wasn't going on the big travel ball teams or flying all across the country. I joined, so that was in the 8th grade. Mm-hmm. So I joined my freshman summer. I joined Hot Shots, and they're out of Houston.
Okay, and that kind of put you on the map. The Hot Shots organization is where you started playing in the big tournaments. Yeah,
yes, sir.
Gotcha. Now when you play for the Hot Shots, give me a typical summer. I mean, is it every weekend that you're playing? Are you traveling all over the nation? I mean, what's that look like?
Man, the Hot Shots organization, it was tough. Mm-hmm. Coaching staff, they shaped me into the athlete I am today. So our practices were, I'd say I was in Houston almost every single weekend of the summer. And if I wasn't in Houston, we were traveling all across the country. But you're expected to be at the Wednesday practices. You're expected to be at the weekend practices. And it was a 4-hour drive for me. Me and my dad would get in a car and drive up there, practice for a couple hours, come right back home.
My God, that is awesome. That is awesome. I mean, and that's what'll make you. That's what'll make you. And that's why everybody can't go, right? Because everybody is not willing to do that part. So it says a lot about you and your family too. I mean, your dad jumping in that car and getting getting you up and down that road. That's big time. I'm pretty sure both are in the stands watching you play and just reminiscing on those times where they watch you build that up. So you're carrying a pretty big legacy when you go out there on that field. No pressure. Just saying, keep having fun. You're doing a great job. I mean, you started off, on a high note, you're exploding on the scene, and you're not waiting. You're not waiting around for an opportunity. You're getting out there, getting after it. So that's cool. So you're going to these big tournaments, and you said JUCOs. I mean, did it ever get to the point where any Power 5 schools started to reach out, or were you just kind of not even paying attention to them, and you're just zoned in on becoming a Longhorn?
So when I first moved to Hot Shots, I struggled for about, it was probably an entire fall and summer season. It's pretty much the whole year. I was a third string catcher, fastpitch, played a couple games at that. I was still traveling everywhere, so going out of state, all the tournaments, but it was real tough on me. I stuck with it though. So at that time, I didn't have many looks. I mean, coaches would show interest, but it wasn't anything like that until the next year when I really kicked it into gear and started progressing.
Okay. Thank you for watching the FCO Show YouTube channel. Like and subscribe here to stay up to date with the latest highlights and clips and keep up with all things catching.